Welcome to season 2. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're new here, well, welcome in. This is the Gilded Leaf, a space for tea, soul work, and plant wisdom for the quiet conversations that live beneath the surface. So, wherever you're listening from, I invite you to settle in, take a breath, and join me for a few moments of gentle reflection. Hi, I'm Bridget, the writer and voice behind the Gilded Leaf. And if we're sitting together right now, this is the part where I'd slide you a warm cup of tea, take a breath, and say, okay, here's my truth. Let's get to it. There's something that I've been steeping with quietly for a while now, and maybe this is the season to set it on the table. I am single, and I am happy. Not in the brittle way people sometimes say it when they are trying to outrun their own longing. In the truest sense of the word, settled, spacious, at peace. I love the shape of my life these days. I love the unhurried rhythm of my mornings, the companionship of my friendship circles, the freedom of my own choices, the deep exhale of coming home to myself at the end of a long day. There is a softness here I have worked hard for, and I do not want to rush past it just because the world still believes a woman should always be reaching for partnership to prove her life is full. Now, I am open to love, certainly. I am open to sharing my life again, but I am no longer standing at the window of my own life waiting for someone else to arrive and make it feel complete. Meh, The kettle is already on here. The light already falls beautifully across the table. There is laughter in this life, and purpose, and beauty, and the quiet kind of joy that does not need to announce itself to be real. I have never chosen marriage, though I came close several times. There were moments when the path stood near enough to touch, when I could almost see myself stepping into it, but each time when I sat with it honestly, I saw more red flags than green ones, and I have learned to trust that kind of seeing even when it asks something difficult of me. Part of that discernment has been shaped by motherhood. Motherhood is tender, demanding, holy, exhausting work. And single motherhood, if I'm telling the truth, is the hardest hood I've ever had to navigate. And it has asked everything of me: my strength, my patience, my resourcefulness, my softness, my ability to keep showing up even when I am tired in places sleep cannot touch. So, the question of bringing a man into that life has never been a light one for me. It has always come with deeper considerations, not simply, do I love you or do you love me, but can you provide steadiness? Can you model relational kindness and emotional maturity? Do you know how to hold responsibility without resentment? Are you emotionally mature enough to be trusted with the tenderness of a home already in motion? Are you invested not just in me, but in the deeper work of care, presence, and development that a shared life requires? Because when children are involved, love cannot be built on charm alone. Chemistry is not enough. Potential, certainly is not enough. A beautiful connection is not enough. if it is not matched by character, consistency, and the kind of grounded maturity that makes a life feel safer, not more fragile. Choosing not to move forward has sometimes been its own act of love for myself, for my child, and for the life that I have worked hard to tend. For this podcast, I'm leaving the herbs on the shelf, not because they are absent, but because this conversation wants to arrive without introduction, warm, humid, and unadored. Some things that warm the heart and soothe the soul are not found in a cup, but in the honesty shared across the table. This is simply a conversation between two friends about love, long partnership, the art of being single, and the slow, beautiful work of loving your own life in the season you are in. And maybe that is part of what love has taught me. I have loved deeply in this lifetime, the kind of love that changes the inner landscape, the kind that teaches you where your heart is most tender, where it knows how to stay open, and where it still startles at old pain that arrives unexpectedly. Those relationships gave me a sweetness in hindsight, but they also gave me ache. They gave me wisdom I could not have gathered any other way. And one of the hardest truths that they've ever taught me is this: if you stay with someone long enough, you are going to hurt each other. Not always because something is broken, not always because something is cruel, sometimes simply because you are close enough to reach the tender places, sometimes because one of you is tired or frightened or carrying more than you know how to say. Sometimes because to be human is to be imperfect, and love, however sincere, does not spare us from that. I think this is one of the quiet disappointments people rarely name when they speak about love. We are taught in so many subtle and not so subtle ways to believe that the right love will feel like relief from being human. That if we choose well enough, or if we are chosen well enough, then the sharp edges will disappear. Nothing will sting. Nothing will bruise. Nothing tender in us will ever be touched the wrong way again. But that is not the promise of love. That is the dream of being spared. Real love is not a place where pain never enters. Real love is where two human beings, with all of their histories and hopes and unfinished places, come close enough to matter deeply to one another. And when you matter deeply, you have the power to soothe, yes, but also the power to wound. Not always in dramatic ways, sometimes in the smallest, most ordinary ones: a missed need, a careless tone, silence at the wrong moment, a hand not reached for, a truth delayed too long or not said at all. And if I'm honest, this was one of the hardest lessons for me to accept, because some part of me once believed that the right relationship would move like water over stone, graceful, intuitive, almost effortless. I thought love would mean less friction, less ache, less confronting of the self. Instead, what love often did was illuminate me. It showed me where I was soft and where I was defended. It showed me where I knew how to stay present and where I disappeared into pride, fear, or silence. It showed me how easily I could ask to be understood and how much harder it was sometimes when to understand someone else when my own hurt was loud in the room. Love, at its deepest, did not just comfort me, it revealed me. And maybe that is why the real question in partnership is never whether hurt will happen, it will. The real question is what happens after. What do you do when the bruise appears verbally? When the conversation lands badly? When something tender in you closes like a door? When the person you love disappoints you, not because they set out to be cruel, but because they are also made of limits, blind spots, old stories. Can you stay? Not in situations that dishonor your spirit, not in what is harmful or unsafe or corrosive. No, I'm not talking about those relationships, for those are toxic and I have not stayed in those. Though those are lessons for sure, wisdom. In hindsight, no. I'm speaking about the ordinary, honest difficulty of loving another person closely enough that repair becomes part of the practice. Can you talk about what hurt instead of letting it harden? Can you remain in the room long enough for the truth to come forward, even when your ego is begging for the quick satisfaction of being right? We've all been there. Can you listen without building your defense while the other person is still speaking? Can you tell the truth without turning it into a weapon? These are not small questions. They are the root systems. Because I do not believe lasting partnership is built by avoiding difficulty. I think it is built more often by the willingness to return to one another after difficulty has already arrived, by the humility to say, that wounded me, or by the tenderness to say, I see that I wounded you too, by the courage to remain soft enough for repair. And repair is its own kind of intimacy. To be forgiven, honestly, is intimate. To offer forgiveness without quietly storing the offense away for later days is intimate. To be misunderstood and still choose clarity over punishment is intimate. To know that someone has seen your less polished places, the frightened places, the reactive places, the immature places, and is still willing to sit beside you while you both grow up a little more inside the relationship, that is intimate too. There are no perfect partners. I do not believe there ever were, but I do believe there are people worth keeping. The ones who know how to return after for the repair, for the ones who do not vanish the moment love asks something of them, the ones who can sit in discomfort without making a home in resentment, the ones who are willing to tend what has been bruised verbally instead of pretending nothing happened, or the ones who keep choosing the relationship not just on the honeyed, easy days, but on the days when misunderstanding has entered the room and both people have to decide whether love will deepen or retreat. That kind of partnership is rare, not because good people are rare, but because emotional maturity asks so much of us. It asks for self-awareness. It asks for patience. It asks for the ability to recognize when your wound has taken the microphone and is trying to narrate the whole story. It asks for the grace to let another person be human without collapsing into fantasy or disillusionment every time they fall short. I think the generation of Disney watchers, where everything works out in the end, gave a big disservice to Gen Xers, but I digress. And maybe this is also why I feel so peaceful in my singleness now, because I am no longer interested in love as proof. I am no longer interested in being partnered simply to satisfy the old ache of being chosen. I am no longer willing to trade the quiet beauty of my life for something half rooted, hurried, or emotionally thin. I have come to love the life that I have built. I love my rituals. I love my mornings. I love the way my friendships hold me. I love the freedom of my own interiority. Is that a word? The gentle spaciousness, making choices from a place that is not desperate. And being alone is not the same thing as being lonely. Sometimes being alone is the first deep breath after years of bracing. Sometimes it is where the nervous system begins to soften. Sometimes it is where you can hear your own needs clearly without the static of someone else's expectations humming in the background. Sometimes it's where joy becomes simpler and more honest. A cup of tea in a quiet kitchen, text from a beloved friend, the lights shifting across the floor, a day that belongs completely to you. There is so much love in a life like that. And I want to say this carefully because I am not closing the door on partnership. I am open. I am still open. I can imagine sharing my life again. I can imagine tenderness arriving in that form. I can imagine building something meaningful with someone whose heart is steady, whose communication is honest. That part. Whose presence feels like warmth instead of confusion. But I'm not waiting in emptiness. I am not holding my breath for love to validate the life that I already have. If it comes, I want it to come as something that adds to the peace, not that it interrupts it. Something rooted enough to bear the weather, something wide enough to hold both truths and tenderness, something honest enough to survive being human. Because that is what I know now. Love does not spare us, not even the beautiful kind, maybe especially not the beautiful kind. To be loved deeply is to be touched deeply, and sometimes that touch reaches bruised places within us too. But the loves worth keeping, the ones that become shelter instead of spectacle, are not the ones untouched by pain. They are the ones willing to tend pain with care, the ones willing to say, when hurt arrives, let us not make an enemy of this moment. Let us see what it is asking us to grow. That to me is partnership, not perfection and not fantasy, not seamlessness, but two people, roots entangled beneath the surface, learning how to hold both storm and sunlight without letting go. And so, before we part for today, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening, for showing up, for making space for the quiet things that move the heart and warm the soul. I hope that this felt less like a podcast and more like a shared moment, like sitting with an old friend with a warm cup of tea where nothing needs to be fixed and nothing needs to be rushed. Just a time for you and me to sit and be together and to think about that is deep within ourselves. If something in this podcast stayed with you or softened you, I'm grateful. Ashe. Because that's the milk and honey of the Gilded Leaf, creating space to pause, to listen inward, and to remember ourselves with care. As always, this is Bridget signing off from my little piece of the world, steeped in intention and offered with care.